Hello, hello, you gorgeous, stunning souls, you. And I hope that you're doing incredibly well. It's Lisa. Thanks for being here. And we're going to do another pick a card reading. This is a subject that I am passionate about. And I feel like it's part of my purpose. So I'm really excited about this particular pick a card. And the theme is compassionately facing something that you have been avoiding. And so I'm going to take your little energetic hand and I'm going to walk with you to a dark place or to maybe just a hidden space, maybe something that you're not avoiding consciously, maybe something that you're avoiding from a totally like subconscious behind the scenes level, you know, that's still tripping you up, something that has been pulling the strings behind the scenes a little bit. Maybe even without your awareness of that, right? Because we all have programming, we all have conditioning, we all have trauma and fears and all that good stuff that can sometimes be a little bit overwhelming or a little bit intimidating to take a look at. And I've found for me personally anyways, I do a lot of that kind of processing on my own. Hi, I have strong Scorpio energy in my chart. Need I say more? So I tend to sort of like go off by myself into the shadowlands and really be with myself in the depths. But I also know that that's one of my strengths, that not everybody has as much of a capacity or a willingness, or it's not just as built into them to do that. And so I thought, why don't I go there with you? You know, because it can be a little bit just difficult to go there alone. And some of us don't feel like we have a compassionate support system that we can explore these heavier things with. So that being said, we're going to take a look at your current energy, and then we'll get into what it is exactly that you're avoiding and where that originates, like why the avoidance. So we'll dig deeper into it to get the underlying sort of vibe. We'll give you some motivation and some advice for moving beyond it or processing through it as well. So we have 4 different groups that you can choose from here, 4 different stones that you can pick from. You're welcome to pick more than one group if you feel called to more than one, then there might be messages in more than one for you. Always remember to take what resonates and leave the rest. So some of like 2 different readings might resonate with you, but maybe not every detail from them. And that's totally normal for a general reading on YouTube. So for the first group, it is this red cap amethyst, also called auralite. So this is your stone, group number 1. Group number 2. You are going to be the black moonstone. Okay. The black moonstone. That's group number 2. Group number 3, you guys are the selenite. And group number 4, the porcelain jasper. Porcelain jasper. Group number 4. So I'm gonna just zoom this in a little bit for you guys so that you can still see, but a little bit closer up there. And so that you can really tune into your own inner knowing and your instincts and choose. Again, it's gonna be group 1, group 2, group 3, and group 4. And while you're doing that, I will just let you know that if you're looking to book a private reading with me, to join Discord, to donate to the channel, to follow me on social media, any of those things, all the info that you will need for that is in the info box down below. I do currently offer personal readings, and you can purchase them through my Etsy shop. So yeah, that link is listed for you down below if you're interested in any of those things, okay? But again, just thank you for being here. And I also feel like your soul kind of just wants to thank you even for being here. That's kind of coming through. It's like, understand that even just by being here, you are doing something courageous and loving for yourself, because exploring some of these things that are easier to avoid, or that might challenge us, or push us or intimidate us, you know what I mean, might be kind of uncomfortable. That takes guts, you know, but it also makes us stronger. It makes us more self-aware, more intelligent. And when we have a deeper understanding of ourselves, we can show up more fully, more authentically, and we can also have healthier connections as well, both with ourselves and other people. So know that if you have come this far and you are willing to look at what you've been avoiding, you know, you're already taking the first really brave step forwards, out of love for yourself, and you should be proud of yourself for that. So that being said, my loves, again, thank you for being here, and the timestamps for all of the groups are going to be in the pinned comment as well as the info box down below. So you can skip directly to your reading when you're ready, and I will meet you there. Hi, Group 1. I hope that you are doing well. And as you can see, I have laid out the cards for your spread in front of me. I'm also going to use the tarot to further clarify what comes up in the main reading here, but I did pre-pull the cards because I am mixing a whole bunch of different oracle decks with the tarot for the main part of the spread. I haven't seen any of the cards yet. I kept them all turned down when I pulled them and when I laid them out. So we will be experiencing this together. But as I was shuffling I was tapping into your energy and kind of just sitting with it, meditating on it, and shuffling your clarifying deck. And the energy that's coming through, it's interesting because at first I wanted to say is quite peaceful, but it's actually coming through as more like serious than just peaceful. So I'm almost getting like somewhat of a solemn energy from you. And for you guys, I actually kind of feel as though for many of you, this isn't something that you're actively avoiding that we're going to be looking at. I feel like for some of you, you feel like there's something missing in some part of your life, or like you're not achieving what you could achieve in some area of your life, or maybe just overall in your life. I feel like you're doing sort of an audit of self, or maybe you have been, or at least of one area of your life that you feel like you're not where you want to be, or there's this maybe just this vague sense of something is missing, but it's like coming through as you're not fulfilling your full potential. And I think that this is something that is bothersome to you. It's like you're not revising or revisiting your life because somebody else is being critical of you. You're doing it because internally you feel like something is missing. So I almost feel like for you, this is just a blind spot that you've been actually actively trying to seek out because you want to know where you're stuck or what is causing stagnancy or dissatisfaction in some area of your life. That's kind of the sense I'm getting intuitively before we look at any cards. So that being said, though, let's get into the reading. We're going to be mixing Oracle and Tarot, like I said, just to get really deep into it and get really precise. And then I'm also going to read, I have one final tarot card for you that we're going to close off with, and I'll read the description from that one from the book for you as just like a closing thing to really sort of leave and meditate on the message of, okay? Okay, so let's start by looking at where you're currently at energetically. Okay. Strong Piscean and Virgo energy here. Interesting, because those two are on an axis together. So you get the Virgin in the upright, which says maintaining symbolic purity of heart and spirit. And you also have the Hanged Man in reverse here. See, this is what I'm saying. It's like there's a higher perspective that you've been seeking, but it's been eluding you. Because the Hanged Man hangs himself upside down to better integrate a higher perspective that will shift, like the implications of that perspective will send ripples through and shift their entire existence, right? They do this on purpose for enlightenment. They want the shift to happen. They seek it out. They sacrifice often something for that shift to take place. And they do so willingly. The shadow attribute of this energy is the fear of intimate union. There's something about your third eye coming through here with all this blue, and also maybe your throat chakra. I feel like something has been trying to be communicated to you from a higher place. But yeah, there's a sense of frustration because it's like you feel like you've been missing it. I almost feel like this maybe is something that is uncomfortable, like very uncomfortable to touch on, because you have to go really deep within yourself. You have to be very intimate with yourself, with this fear of intimate union, in order for this to uncover itself or reveal itself to you. It's like, it's not just a surface level thing that you can just sit down and ponder, you know, "Oh, I wonder what's causing this," and it just comes up and it's like an easy fix. This is something that is almost trying to be illuminated or expressed to you from your higher self or from spirit or your guides. I feel like it's really your higher self here. But I do feel like you're kind of just, you're in alignment with some sort of goal at this time, or what maybe you perceive to be your path or your purpose in this life, or one of them. And you are sustaining, like maintaining this commitment. Heart and spirit is committed from a very pure place. It's like your motivation in whatever you are seeking is coming from a very pure place. But I feel like, yeah, there's something about this intimate union thing with the Hanged Man in reverse that it's almost like it requires you to go so deep. Like the Hanged Man is the energy of you go so deep that you end up in a transcendent space, if that makes sense. It's almost like the vision that I'm seeing is someone diving to the very bottom of the ocean, and at the bottom of the ocean, they break through this separation and they come out and they're in the sky. Do you know what I mean? It's like the bottom of the ocean gives way to the sky. It's like you go so deep that you end up high, if that makes sense, higher in your perspective. That's kind of the trippy vibes of the Hanged Man. What else can you tell me about group number one's current energy, please? Anything else that we need to know about this current energy? The Navigator in reverse. Yeah, there's been an element of you that has felt stuck, bored, and maybe even partly ambivalent. The Four of Cups with the Navigator in reverse, it's like there's been some element of stagnancy or boredom here. Maybe you just have been doing things the same way for a long time, and at first it fulfilled you, but now you've grown and your soul wants to go further. This is, the Navigator has like a compass, but they're pointing like they're in the sky, right? It's like they don't want to just explore this earth. They want to go even further than that. Again, they want to go so deep, or they want to go so high that they actually transcend the space that they've been in. It's like to infinity and beyond vibes. Like we're going to a whole nother planet. We're going to a whole nother atmosphere or energetic space. But I feel like you haven't felt as though you have clear directions with that navigator in reverse to get to where you want to be. And it could just be because you've been in this same old kind of energy that you've needed to break away from, but it's been keeping you feeling a little bit stuck and uninspired. For some of you, you've been playing small. You know that you have a big legacy to achieve, but that it requires you to step into the fullness of your strength and power and passion, and to live out loud in a way that will trigger others, and to frankly not give a damn about that because it's not a you problem, you know? But there is some sort of fear. It's almost like in order to fully be in your power and your strength, and then to express yourself from that place, which is when all of these blessings that are meant for you are going to truly come in, because then you'll be in alignment and a vibrational match to truly accept them, right? And hold them with the honor and care that they deserve. It's like you have to get extremely intimate with yourself in order to then show up with that intimacy and authenticity to the world around you as well. And there might be something that, some part of yourself that you're almost scared to get intimate with. Okay, so let's take a closer look at what exactly it is that you are avoiding. Okay, so let's blow the lid off this thing and see what's going down. So this first row here is going to be what you're avoiding. So we have levitation. It literally says higher ground, belief, mastery, and meditation. That is the energy of the Hanged Man. With the Ace of Wands. Let me flip all of them over here. I want to do this all together and just see how they interact with one another. Okay, so we have that. We have surrender to the wisdom of your body. I'll show you guys these closer up. With the Eight of Wands. Okay. And then we also have happiness with the Page of Wands. All right. Let me just take a second to really take this in, okay? So all the tarot cards are wands. So this is definitely like a soul thing, a spirit thing. Again, it's deep. It's very deep. Where you're going, you are illuminating a part of your soul, of your spirit, or lighting it up, a new part of you that's ready to be activated. It's this part of you that's ready to exist on higher ground. You have reached a level of mastery over something, and your beliefs are ready to shift because of this. You're ready to exist in this transcendent space, in this leveled up place. But it's almost like you're thinking about it in such a way that you're confusing yourself, or what you're avoiding. You're ultimately kind of avoiding being super hopeful about this. It's like there's a part of you that is either bored, ambivalent, or has been kind of broken down and feels a little bit jaded. It's like a part of you that is afraid to be hopeful, even though you have mastered something and you are ready for this. So what's kind of coming through is that, like, when we are... I say like you've mastered something, right? And it sounds so fun and light. Like you just took an online course and, you know, after a week you got this fun certificate saying you've mastered that skill. No, that's not how the School of Hard Knocks works. It's not how the school of life works for us humans most times, right? The way that we find ourselves on higher ground is we crawl through the trenches on our stomachs, you know, bombs going off around us, and we go through an intense boot camp or trauma that tests us, that shakes us, that breaks us. And then how we end up mastering whatever that is that we've gone through is through the process of putting ourselves back together again, or finding ourselves again, right? it's ultimately us that we relight the fire. We reconnect with our spirit, the core of our spirit, the love within us, the light, the truth, the spark of divinity. And we choose, despite everything that we've been through, to see things from a new perspective. And this is ultimately a hopeful and an optimistic perspective with the Page of Wands and happiness, you know? So this is kind of coming through in different levels here. They're all deeply tied together, though. There's a part of you that is almost afraid to, as much as I feel like you're kind of uncomfortable where you're at, there's almost like this deeper fear that maybe you're not ready to be on this higher ground, that maybe you're not up above the pain of what you have experienced yet. And I think that's just because there is a little bit of, it's like something with your beliefs and the way you're thinking about it still needs to kind of shift a little bit. So your perception hasn't fully shifted into place in this new, more transcendent reality, right? So I think that there is that meditation element here for a reason. Meditate on the beliefs that you have surrounding like what is possible for you based on what has been already in your life, like what has already unfolded, right? Do you still believe that every moment can be something totally fresh and new? Or do you believe that the present and the future has to have remnants of the past attached, or is going to go the same way as things have gone in the past, right? Because the Ace of Wands is new. It's a whole new spark of inspiration and desire. For some of you on this higher ground, you're actually meant to embrace a new passion, a new path, a new hobby, a new gift maybe. Clarify this levitation and the Ace of Wands for me, please. Judgment. There's also something coming through here about overstimulation almost with the Ace of Wands and the Eight of Wands and this surrender to the wisdom of your body. It's a lot of energy and a lot of energy moving and shifting and just a lot of action, energetic action. And it's almost coming through a little bit as overstimulation as well. When what is needed is kind of a sinking into more of a meditative high space where this deeper wisdom can reveal itself to you, where you can actually be with yourself deeply and tap into the deeper elements here that want to come through. Because it's not something, like I said, that's superficial or easily accessed. I mean, it's easily accessed, but you have to access it a certain way. You can't just kind of like expect it to happen on your coffee break while you have a million other things going on around you. You can't really like multitask and expect this to happen. You kind of have to honor yourself and the depth of this shift by sitting, being quiet, giving it the time and space that it needs, holding that safe space for yourself as well. There's a sense of judgment, though, that you're being asked to release here. I feel like it's judgment of yourself for what you've gone through in the past, maybe. It's like if you feel like if you let go of judging yourself, then you could easily make that same mistake again, but you need to sort of trust that you have integrated this lesson. With surrender to the wisdom of your body, for some of you, you're working too hard, you're burnt out. You might be, for some of you, you have like a caffeine addiction that's just not, or a habit that's not serving you at this time, or a really unhealthy sleep schedule, like you procrastinate and then you stay up all night getting stuff done. There's something that the wisdom, like your body is trying to tell you, hey, you need a break, or hey, this habit needs to shift. or be removed or whatever the case may be, but you just keep on pushing and you're not really listening. So what really does need to shift here is in your mind and your spirit. It's a belief thing that needs to integrate. The belief that you can be happy and that it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to include all this unjust stuff that is going to happen to you. Just because life has been difficult in order to teach you some things, it's like once you've gotten to the level of mastery with those things, you don't need to go through those same lessons again, right? You have already learned, so you're up above them now. So you don't have to be afraid of the things that have already happened, right? You've already gone through them, you've already survived them, and you don't need to let that fear consume or control you. Okay, let's look at the rest of the cards, and I think we'll get more information on what you're avoiding as we dig deeper. So let's look at what the origin of this avoidance, the true origin of this avoidance is. I want to see where this is coming from. Okay, so we have innocence with the 8 of coins in reverse. Tangerine. This is a sacral chakra card. The trigger statement is, I have so much to do, and the true statement is, I am playful. Let the burdens of responsibility go in this moment and look at your world with the eyes of a child. See, this is coming through, this innocence is coming through very much with this Virgin card energy. It's like this purity of heart, this natural innocence, this playfulness of heart and soul, heart and spirit. You're not afraid to be intimate with yourself because you are open, you are holding that safe space, again, from that innocent, pure place for yourself. It's like this pure, light, childlike part of yourself that is creative, that is inspired, that is pure and playful, gets bogged down by the approach that you're currently taking. It's almost like the approach has been too aggressive, like you're trying to force things when your body needs rest, or when it's about giving yourself this space to get inspired again, to get to know yourself again, to reconnect to this playful part of you, to get energy flowing in that way. Or to just reach into your soul and sort of make this shift in perspective or belief. I think that there's people around you that have judged you. For some of you, you definitely have Pisces in your chart. Gemini is also kind of coming through here as well. But it's like someone when you were young, or maybe even when you're old, that's coming through kind of as a possible childhood wound for some of you, told you that like, you're never going to get anything done with that attitude. Just being creative, playful, inspired, like that's an immature way of looking at it. That's not how the world works. You know, you got to buck up, kid. You got to strive. You got to work hard. Success has to look like this. It has to look like toil and strife. And what you are naturally isn't going to work with the 8 of coins in reverse. And so then maybe you took a far more structured or difficult approach that hasn't fit for you. It hasn't fit for you, whatever approach I feel like you've been taking, because you've been almost trying to live life through someone else's shoes or the way that they recommended you do it. Or you've just felt like your natural way is not sustainable or cannot be successful. Like it's too immature, or it's not, I don't know. It's like you've played small here. Because this innocent part of you, the core of your soul, this creative, beautiful part that is not squashed under the burden of responsibility and obligation, is very powerful as well, and can definitely be successful in this world. Tell me more about the origin of this avoidance for group 1. It's almost like you're avoiding a return to innocence, like the full return to innocence that Spirit is calling you back to. Because you have this idea that it can't work. You have this idea that this beautiful, innocent, happy-go-lucky Page of Wands, Virgin, Innocence cards, right? That this energy of optimism and creativity and just being lit up and inspired and passionate and joyful isn't enough. But it is. You may have triggered other people being in that energy. Because they come at life from a different perspective and a different approach, you know? The Six of Wands did come out, though. It just flew out. This is telling me that there is success for you with this approach. Just because other people, it's not the way that maybe they're meant to do it on their journey, it doesn't mean that it's not the way for you. And they are not you. So they don't really have the right, unless you give it to them, to speak into your life in such a way to tell you this is the ultimate only way to go about doing things. Only you truly know that. And I think that's why, like, to reconnect with your most authentic and powerful way of expressing yourself and approaching life and moving through life, you have to intimately connect with yourself and what you want and who you are. Like, what is your most natural flow? What is success actually and productivity actually for you, not for everybody else, not by everyone else's standards, but your own. Okay, so let's dig deeper into why the avoidance of this, because it kind of feels like it's interesting. It's like, you know that there's higher ground and that it's, you know, something. You already have this knowledge. It's in your soul. It's like been planted in your soul. You have some bad habits, I feel like, that are affecting your actual, like, your body or your health or your, like, it's physical alignment or like cycles, healthy cycles for your body. So whether this is things that you're ingesting or things that even that you're taking in, like in terms of content, your sleep schedule, eating, all of these types of things, exercise, everything that includes your health. There's shifts that you can make that will make the energy move quite rapidly, but you haven't been listening to what your body's been telling you. This could be that you need more rest, that you need to cut out like weed, caffeine, or just make it a lot more balanced, your intake of these things. And then the rest, I feel like, is kind of just having this optimistic perspective, but I almost feel like you've had people telling you that that's naive, linking that optimism, that purity of heart to like, oh, you're just naive. You can't be happy in that way, you know, but you can. You should be. That is the right path for you. And you're trying to be led back to it, but it's almost like you doubt it or you don't. It's like you're questioning that truly is the higher ground that you can stand on because other people may have told you that it's just naive. So it's almost like you have cognitive dissonance or something, yeah, that seems kind of conflicting within you at this time. So why the avoidance? We have waterfall, effortless, with the Seven of Swords. Exactly. You've been lied to here. Like, it's an illusion with the Seven of Swords, what you've been taught about how effortless this flow can truly be for you. I feel like group one, you're very connected to spirit. You're very connected to your spirit. You're very connected to this part within us that gets inspired by just the simple beauties in life, right? The simple pleasures. For you, I feel like getting inspired and being passionate is relatively effortless, but you were told that just that isn't enough to get you to where you want to go. You know, you have to have all this structure. You have to be all burdened with this big sense of responsibility and, I don't know. It's almost this energy of being forced to grow up fast or to be responsible or to carry this deep obligation. But really what needs to be let in is more of this lightness. It's meant to be easier than it has been. And that's what you mastering these past lessons has been. It's been to tell you that you can actually make it easier for yourself. It doesn't actually need to be as hard as it has been. You have the blue avions, philosophy, releasing karma, and mysticism with the Six of Swords. Okay. And you have criticism and adaptability in reverse with the Fool in reverse. Yeah, you feel like you can't switch up your approach without being criticized by someone here that's going to call you a fool, call you immature, essentially just shit on your plans, on your dreams, on your approach. Whatever this is, it's like you don't feel safe. You don't feel safe moving forwards. There's an ad that just came on my TV because the frequency ended, so just kidding. Just skip that. It's moving from the solar plexus chakra frequency to the heart chakra frequency. I feel like there's something about that that's coming into. It's about connecting less to that fiery, like, you still want to be connected to the inspired part within you, that passionate spark, but it's less about having like using your will and your will alone to force something forwards. It's more about coming from your heart, from this pure, innocent place, this playful, light place. That's what's meant to guide you into the next phase of your life. And I feel like that's ultimately what is going to get this heavier, more dense energy moving and shifting for you. It's like you've been looking at it and you're like, why can't I make this move or shift? And it's because you're subconsciously still holding on to that heavy way of approaching things because you're scared of the judgments of others. You're scared of what if that way doesn't work and it is just naive or improbable or, you know, like an idealistic or immature way of thinking about it. But you have this higher perspective. You have this perception, these higher, more evolved and mastered beliefs. You just have to trust them. Like everything that you've gone through has been for a reason. Everything that you've gone through has opened up new cognitive pathways, new depths of your heart and your soul, right? You just have to trust what has been revealed to you. But yeah, the reason why you're avoiding this, because you already have it within you. It's like you're holding this wand. You're holding the keys to making this energy move, to being in a space of more lightness, more joy, more freedom, more connected to your inner child, to the core of who you are, more, you know, holistically in tune with and expressing yourself, which is beautiful. That is you being in your full strength and power, right? That's what's going to open up new opportunities to come to you in that higher vibration. But it's like you're questioning it because of the lies that have been told to you, or the programming about how hard it has to be, or what success and productivity has to look like. There is this new philosophy or belief that is very spiritual or mystical in nature that wants to come through and wants to be integrated for you with the Six of Swords. But you have to let go of whatever that old belief system is that is at conflict within you, right? It's something karmic that you're releasing. It's like there's a cycle closing here. It's closing out. Like I said from the beginning, you're leveling up. You're going to be existing on higher ground, so to speak, in a higher frequency, up above some of the challenges and conflict that you've been grappling with in your life thus far, because those were karmic cycles. And now you've gained the perspective through your experiences to exist in a different way. But it's almost like you haven't quite given yourself permission to exist in that way. Maybe there's some shame and guilt, right? Because maybe people weren't meaning to make you small when they told you this. They were trying to just prepare you for life the best that they thought that they could, right? And so they told you that it's going to be hard and you're going to have to harden up and you're going to have to be less naive and blah, blah, blah. But little did they know they were actually kind of creating stumbling blocks by putting that perspective into you rather than helping prepare you for life. They could have looked at you as well and in a way been triggered or had sort of a jealous response, whether they were aware of this or not, that maybe you do embody this lightness, this purity, this beautiful heart energy and openness. And things do come to you more easily in that sense. And maybe the people who are giving you this advice, you know, they themselves never felt that they had the chance to approach life in that way from a more innocent space. So it's almost like someone hurt passing on their wound to someone else, you know, like a parent passing on one of their wounds to their child because they never healed that wound within themselves and never knew better, for instance. But there's a higher perspective, a deeper philosophy that is much more in alignment with you, that's going to really project or propel you forwards in a positive way. But this shifting of your philosophy, it feels very like cornerstone. Like this is a cornerstone belief system. It's something that you have built your life on thus far. So it's a little intimidating to switch the perspective. So that's why some of the avoidance is happening as well. And then with this adaptability and criticism with the Fool in reverse, let's clarify that a little more here. Some of you feel kind of backed into a corner, like there is no room to be flexible. Even if you wanted to do something a different way, like you don't have the option to. 10 of Wands in reverse. I feel like that's just because there's some weight that needs to be released or something that needs to be dropped to create space for you to shift, right? It's like you're stuck in a very rigid type of belief or pattern about the way that it needs to be right now. And the way that things actually want to be or are meant to be for you is actually like totally flies in the face of what you've been taught. You are meant to exist in this effortless, innocent flow, connected to the essence of source, connected to unconditional love, connected to light, to truth, right? Which is true inspiration. It's the kind that strikes you right at the heart, right at the soul of you and resonates through you. And these are the deeper things that you're meant to be connected to, that are meant to guide you. And they are meant to make your life a lot easier than they have been, right? But for you guys, there are some illusions in your thinking that need to be released. For some of you, you're back and forth as well. Like sometimes you have these moments and you're like, you see very clearly where you've been misled, or you're like, that belief is straight up just not true. I need to let it go. But then you kind of go back on it and you're like, you kind of flip flop through understanding that you do need to release that belief and then going back to that belief, right? But yeah, you're trying to avoid criticism from people around you as well. That's part of why the avoidance of this actual shift into a happier, easier, lighter place is. For some of you, you're surrounded by people who have had very difficult lives, and it's almost like you feel guilty or ashamed moving into a lighter phase or a more successful phase of your life as well. But I think that this is just, you're scared to make a decision that is going to be deemed by others as foolish. Because you think that other people are going to judge you as like moving backwards in your evolution, when really this is you moving forwards. It's just they don't understand it. So they're judging what they don't understand because they are not at the same level here of mastery. They are still stuck in the same old philosophy that is keeping them bound in a harder situation than they need to actually be in, right? Okay, so let's get you some motivation and advice here. So, motivation to move forwards. You literally have flow with the effortless, the waterfall, and the Seven of Swords again. Wow. So these cards correspond, and then these cards are the exact same. So there's something definitely there. Like, there's something about you holding on to this lie, like you're holding on to an illusion. And you're holding on to the conflict and the complexity of it. Like just by not fully making this decision in your mind, right? He's holding on to 5 swords, which talks about a situation where no one wins, a situation where you're at conflict with cognitive dissonance within yourself. And it's because there's these 2 of swords, this decision that's still up in the air. Like I said, you flip-flop back and forth, whether you believe your own inner knowing, which is coming from this higher place, or whether you should believe what, this old programming, this old conditioning. And I think this is very natural for us to do because that conditioning and programming goes deep. It's very integrated into us, and it takes a lot of effort sometimes to acknowledge it, to root it out, and then to hold space for the new. But your motivation is that you can let go of this constant strain, this constant battle, and feeling like you're just exhausted, you're in your head, there is no winning. Things can truly be an effortless flow, and that is just coming through for you like again and again. So like I said, it's really like day and night in how things have been for you and how things can be for you. And then your advice, you have justice in reverse with breathe in reverse. Okay, I'm going to see what the book says about this since it came out in reverse. That means that it is a protection message for you. So let's see what that has to say before I say too much here. Okay, breathe. Where's this? 109. Okay. So it says, inertia, laziness, and apathy are signs not of slowing down, but of decay and lifelessness. Wake up and do something to shake this off. Go outside for some air. A walk in nature will remind you that all of life is ensouled and magical. Get some exercise, move out of your head and into your body, and breathe in deeply. Each breath is precious. So this to me is kind of, there's that 4 of Cups that came out, and like we were talking about at the very beginning, it's that apathetic boredom and feeling stuck where you're at. This is not signs of the energy slowing down, but of you needing to just shift that energy altogether, right? It's like if you're bored, then that's because that energy you're not meant to be there anymore, right? So you kind of are being asked to shake this off, and to do so by shifting out of your mental, like out of your head space and into your body. So we did also mention this here, right? What is your body telling you? Does it need fresh air? Does it need exercise? Does it need you to eat differently? Does it need more water? Does it need you to, stop eating or drinking certain things or intaking certain things? There's also something coming through where breath work could be insanely helpful to you at this time, just to help transmute and shift energy as well. So you might want to look into helpful breath work tactics. But there's also something for sure about going outside and allowing that to help shift your perspective and your energy as well. But I still want to clarify a little bit this justice in reverse. For some of you, you're working through legitimately some PTSD, CPTSD, like you're carrying trauma in your body, you still get triggered, you still get sucked back into the energy of the injustice that has taken place for you. And then you find it hard to get out of that overstimulated place where you're you're triggered, right? So your nervous system is going crazy and you're in that sort of fight or flight energy where you have a difficult time getting anything actually accomplished. For some of you, you just really need to listen to what your body actually needs and stop just trying to push through or bury something, and just hold space for yourself to be intimate with yourself and really listen to the parts of you that are begging for your attention. Because I'm almost getting there's something here that wants to be released, but you do have to kind of hold full space for it to bubble up and out of you. Is there anything else about that you want to talk about, that justice in reverse for the advice, Spirit, for group 1? The Six of Pentacles. It's kind of like you get what you give here, energetically speaking. What you feed. There's this quote that's like, love and fear are beasts, and the one that grows is the one you feed. And it just talks about like, wherever you put your energy, that's what's going to expand or grow, right? So if you put your energy into freaking out about past situations or revisiting trauma or injustices that were done to you, or even just focusing on the things that you're stressed out about and that you don't have a clear answer or solution to currently, you're going to draw more of that anxiety, that overstimulation, that frustration, and that feeling, lost out of yourself. So there's something about just breathing deeply and making time with yourself to honestly just kind of talk yourself down, to remind yourself as well. And it's helpful to actually like speak out loud to your own body when you're going through big shifts, because it actually hears you and your cells like process things and shift differently. This is actually like scientifically proven. You might want to go look up the details on it because I don't know all of them right now, but it's like if you talk to your body like, hey, we're okay. We're not in that place of trauma where we were unsafe, where we were in that fight or flight mode. We're out of that now. Like even just telling yourself that frequently out loud is very helpful for you shifting out of that state. It's also a way to self-soothe. There is just something here about you caring for the purest, most deep and innocent parts of yourself, letting them come back to the surface, reminding them that the darkness doesn't last forever, that this new inspiration and this movement into a lighter and a happier and just a more effortless space is possible, despite what you may have been told, despite what you may have already experienced. Your more natural and abundant flow is waiting for you to leap into it, but you kind of have to let go of this fear of adapting, fear of being flexible outside of your comfort zone, and fear of criticism from people who are just not on the same page as you. It's not personal, right? Okay, so I have a final card for you from the Gaia Oracle deck. It is achievement. Aw, keep focused on your dream. Okay, let's read this from the book to close things off. Because that is what we are going to do. Okay, so it's number 17. Achievement. Okay. So it says, you will soon achieve a goal you had set for yourself. Your hard work and persistence is about to pay off. Know that you deserve all of the success that is coming your way. Quietly acknowledge this to yourself as you celebrate your achievements. Thank the earth and universe for this blessing in the knowledge that all you do is a co-creation with the higher powers that be. Then refocus your attention back to the task at hand. Do not lose sight of your original purpose and intention. This is only the beginning. Much more can be accomplished, provided you keep focused on your dream. Remember what is truly important to you. It may be helpful to set a new goal. This could be bigger and more fulfilling than you ever imagined. And then the affirmation says, I give thanks for all the success coming my way. All I do is a co-creation with my higher self and the universal light of love. I keep focused on my dream. What I imagine, I create. I am grateful for what I have achieved. I feel like you're being hard on yourself. There's an element of that here. Group number 1. And there is an element even with the stone that you picked with this, this amethyst that wants you to, again, tap into the deeper and the more feminine, the softer elements of yourself, your emotional world, the deeper parts of your spirit, your fears and your desires. What do you really want? What do you want outside of everybody else's opinions and projections and ideas about what you should want and how you should go about getting there? It might be a good time to reconsider the path that you've been moving towards and shift your trajectory if that path is not in alignment with your personal deepest desires. If you've been chasing somebody else's achievements, you know, I do feel like there's something beautiful though, because you have burst through something here recently. This higher ground, this mastery is available to you. It's come to you. You just kind of have to keep telling yourself until you truly believe it that you are in that state. You know, the shift has taken place. It's just like your mind, your mental capacity sort of needs to catch up, and maybe your body as well. If you're still storing some anxiety, trauma, different things like that in the body, then moving it, stretching, exercising, all that kind of thing, and breathing again can really, really help you move some of that out of your body and just feel through it so that you can actually release it. But this looks beautiful. I just feel like you kind of need to stand on what you know. Your soul knows something. Your heart knows something deep down. There's a philosophy that is higher that is begging to be shifted within you. It's just these old lies, misconceptions, and illusions that need to be released. It's the feeling of almost being comfortable being at conflict within yourself that needs to be released so that you can be in this more authentic, organic, natural flow. Okay? So I hope that that reading resonated with you, group number 1. This felt pretty deep. I hope that it made sense to you and that it was helpful and supportive in some way. If it was, you can let me know in the comment section if you feel comfortable doing so, or by liking the video. I know it's annoying to hear all of us say that all the time, but you have no idea how much it genuinely helps. With the YouTube algorithm, you know what I mean? Stupid algorithm. But anyways, thank you for being here. I love you so very much, and I will talk to you again soon, group number 1, but bye for now. What's good, group number 2? I hope that you're doing well. So we're just gonna dive right into this reading. I want to just get into the energies. We're gonna use a mixture of tarot and oracle cards, and I'm gonna clarify further as we go. But I did pre-pull and lay out the spread, although I haven't looked at any of the cards, just to save us a little bit of time, okay? So let's start by just looking at what your current energy is, and then we'll dive into what it is that you're avoiding. And yeah, but let's start with some context for where you're currently at here. Okay. So you have Strength in reverse from the tarot and the Mother archetype in reverse as well, which could indicate that you are possibly showing up in more of the shadow attributes of this archetype. So the shadow attributes say smothering or abandoning children, instilling guilt in children for becoming independent. And then Strength in reverse. There's a really clear message that's coming through with these cards. There's Leo energy here and Cancerian energy as well, but those don't have to resonate with you. I really feel like this is you making yourself small. I don't feel like you are strengthening or smothering or abandoning like children outside of yourself. What I feel like is this is referring to your own inner child. Okay, so for some of you, right now, rather than nurturing yourself with patience and unconditional love as you grow through a phase of your life or as you become more independent, instead you are either feeling guilty because you're becoming more independent or breaking away from things or people that used to support you, or some of you are actually smothering. You're like keeping that part of yourself small, or you're abandoning or sort of repressing it altogether, is kind of what's coming through with that. Okay, let's clarify that a little bit here. Let's see. It's like you're either not seeing your own inner strength because you've been really dependent on people outside of you for some time, or you've been really dependent on this like fight or flight warrior part of yourself, that you've kind of kept your inner child and the softer parts of you buried as to protect them. Yeah, some of you are feeling guilty for the way that you're stepping into your own power and independence here. It's like your own power and strength feels uncomfortable to you. The Four of Wands in reverse. For some of you, just accepting joy and stability in your life almost feels abnormal because you've come from a very chaotic, either a chaotic upbringing or just a chaotic life. You're used to being in situations of chaos, panic, trauma for some of you. And because your nervous system and because your hormones and your whole body is sort of built in some ways around those experiences, sometimes when we're put in a more stable or a peaceful situation, it can feel very scary and very abnormal for us, like something is wrong. Okay, my right ear is ringing really loudly. Anything else here about the current state that group 2 is in? The Queen of Wands and the Three of Swords. You've chosen to approach your pain from an inspired, a liberated, an empowered, more of a passionate sort of place. I feel like you guys have done quite a bit of work on yourself. You've gone through something here in the past for sure, as all of us have, right, with this Three of Swords. No matter how extreme this was, right, everyone will be sort of in a different place with their experiences. It did bring about this sense of insecurity, I feel like, within you, and you're kind of in a state of trying to reclaim that. But for many of you, I feel like it feels uncomfortable, or there's guilt or shame or insecurity that is surrounding you really stepping into the fullness of your strength and being more independent, recognizing yourself as being, you know, capable in your own life. Okay. So let's take a look at what it is that you're avoiding here. I'm going to flip all the cards and then we will tie it together. So you have mugwort, dreams, rhythm, higher self, reality, and rest with the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. Surrender, unhealthy relationships with the Seven of Cups in reverse. Okay. And courage with the Two of Swords in reverse. Yeah. Okay. It's a little less nuanced, a little more clear cut than group number 1, I feel like, for you guys here. There's a decision that is going to take some bravery, some courage for you to really make and stick to. And I feel like it is getting into alignment with your higher self, which is your true reality, the true reality of where you are at. Now, you have grown, you have healed, you have evolved. And so it's allowing yourself to stop or surrender what has not been working, unhealthy relationships with other people, with yourself, with substances, with habits. You know, these don't have to be just interpersonal relationships. They can be how you relate to anything in your life. In order to get into calibration and working easy flow and rhythm with where you are truly at now, not where you used to be, not who you used to be, because you've become a more strong, more evolved, more assured version of yourself. You're just being asked to really acknowledge, accept, and move forwards with the assuredness of that. And I feel like for you, one of the ways that you are going to prove that to yourself is by setting healthy boundaries and purging out some things here that are, you know, that they're not in alignment with where you are now. Maybe they're in alignment with the person that you used to be, but there are some cuts I'm almost feeling that need to be made here. So, and it's stuff that's not working for you. It's stuff that like you put energy into, but you don't see it. You don't see the harvest. You don't see it give back. You know, the way that it feels like would be more balanced. So let's clarify that, okay. The 5 of Wands in reverse. Yeah, see, there's a natural rhythm here that feels too easy for you. It's interesting. It's like you're clinging on in a way here. And again, this could be totally like unconscious. Like you're not even noticing you're doing this consciously. I feel like many of you in group 2, you're clinging on to an old way of doing something and it no longer works. Maybe it never worked, or maybe it used to work, but now you've outgrown it. And you're in alignment now to be in the rhythm of something that feels a lot more symbiotic, a lot more peaceful, a lot more aligned. There's less conflict, there's less tension overall. And it feels like I said, like an easier flow. It's more restful. It's a more restful reality existing as your higher self, because there are lessons you've learned and there are things that you've healed and, you know, processed through that no longer, you don't need to live under the weight of them. You've graduated. But for some of you, you keep showing up to the class, putting effort in. Yeah, the world in reverse, not letting this end. And Spirit is like, hey, this is closed out. Like, you're done. You got your graduation certificate. You don't need to go back to this class, right? Clarify this 7 of Cups in reverse and surrender unhealthy relationships. You guys, I feel like you know with emotional clarity with this 7 of Cups in reverse what actually needs to be released. Many of you have quite clear insight into what is not working. Like, even if practically you're trying to figure out a way to make it work, or you think that there's no other way practically to approach something, intuitively and emotionally, you're quite clear that you don't, like, certain connections to things and people and places, they don't feel healthy for you anymore. They're not pulling the most positive elements out of you. They're not supporting you in your forward motion. They're not giving back to you in a healthy, balanced kind of way. Tell me more about this, Spirit. But you're still struggling to surrender them, even though you know this for whatever reason. And I think it's because these choices that you are being asked to make, they are going to take a level of courage, right? It's like boundary setting. And for some of you with strength in reverse here as well, you don't necessarily feel like you have it in you to make those tough judgment calls at this time. There's a part of you that's still, and I don't even want to say you feel weak, but it's like you're relating to yourself as weak. The 10 of Cups. Queen of Swords in reverse. Queen of Cups in reverse. 2 of Pentacles. Wow. Your soul has evolved here into this King of Wands energy, and you are ready for the 10 of Cups. You're ready for a deeper emotional fulfillment here. And it doesn't hinge on anything or anyone outside of you. This is something you have worked and evolved into. It's a state of being, right? That starts inside of you. But there are these two queens that are kind of causing this indecision, right? What you're avoiding is making your mind up about something. So you're still kind of back and forth juggling from these two different places. And the one place is the Queen of Swords in reverse, who's ready to take out her sword, her machete, and slice through the illusions and surrender or sacrifice what is not working for her, right? But the Queen of Cups in reverse might struggle with feelings of worthiness, might have some imposter syndrome stuff going on here about success that they don't necessarily believe that they deserve or that they're capable of. There might be some old codependent habits or attitudes or relationships that this Queen of Cups in reverse is still stuck on. And so those are the two elements of yourself I feel like that you are kind of going back and forth with, group number 2. And so you kind of avoid the emotional clarity that you have because you know what the implication of that is. It's like you do have the clarity ultimately to know what is not good for you right now. And I think you know that you do need to release what is not working in order to get into comfortable, confident rhythm with your higher self to step up. But you're also aware that it's going to take courage, it's going to take persistence, it's going to take belief in yourself and maybe more deep healing or continued healing of your inner child. Just radical acceptance and unconditional love offered to the part of you that has not been seen or that maybe you've interacted with mainly by either smothering and controlling or repressing or abandoning. You know, and these are sometimes the things that are hardest to look at, the places where we push ourselves down, where we deny or abandon ourselves. That hurts more than anybody else denying or abandoning us, because at the end of the day, if we don't love and accept ourselves and we don't have that to fall back on, that's very significant. That really affects us in a negative way, right? And so when we, the one person who we should always be able to rely on to offer us love and to hold space for ourselves, when we reject or push down, smother, or abandon ourselves, that does some really deep damage, right? And ironically, the process of continually doing that can make us feel less empowered, less strong. When we have this idea that we are pushing down the weaker parts of us and leading with something stronger. Anytime you fragment yourself, anytime you split yourself or repress or cut off parts of yourself, you're not strengthening yourself, you're weakening yourself, right? So there's something here about that as well. Let's look at the origin of this avoidance. Where is it really originating at? Wow, we're just talking about acceptance. So you have the Knight of Swords in reverse with Siberian Fur, acceptance. This is a heart chakra card. The trigger statement says, we must remember the true statement, I am free of the habits that do not serve me. Wow, this is what we've been talking about. Lay down the armor passed down to you from family, release habits that are not serving you, and forgive on behalf of generations past, or even versions of you that have past, that have existed and passed, right? It's like you won't let yourself off the hook here is mostly what I'm getting from this, though. We must remember, it's like you are having trouble accepting that you have moved past maybe some unhealthy relationship patterns, unhealthy habits that have not served you. You have transcended above them, and there is this new rhythm and reality that, again, is more peaceful, more easy, more natural, that's available to you. But you kind of, it's like you're at this point where you're being asked, in order to really embody and embrace and express yourself from that whole place, from that higher place, there needs to be like an integration through acceptance of all of the versions of you that you've been leading up to this point. You know, it's like you can't really embrace yourself as this transcendent version of yourself who has learned so much and healed so much while still shaming and guilting yourself and judging yourself over the person that you've been in the past. That doesn't serve you. So I feel like the forgiveness that most needs to happen here again is forgiveness for yourself from the places that you maybe have been extremely harsh on yourself. With that Knight of Swords in reverse, they can be incredibly harsh and take action based on what they think that they need to do or what others expect from them, or what this like very high expectation, critical version of themselves expects from them, right? But it's not truth. That's not really, we don't have to live under the burden and the weight of that judgment. You can set yourself free from that, but it requires you to let down the guards around your heart and pour love and hold space and acceptance to be intimate with the parts of you that are wanting to be seen again. They don't want to be repressed. They don't want to be abandoned. They don't want to be smothered. They want to evolve and be part of you and be part of, you know, your independence. They want to be expressed just like the rest of you as strength, not hidden or abandoned or shamed as something lesser than or as a weak spot, right? So the core of this, of what you're ultimately avoiding, is a lack of love and acceptance for yourself and the habits and patterns that you have indulged in that maybe haven't served you in the past. But ultimately, those same things did... Oh, I'm channeling that line from Kanye West. I can't remember what song it is, but he's like, says something, but it's funny because those, what does he say? Can't remember the exact lyrics, but he's like, it's funny because those problems are the same things that helped me write this song, right? Or those struggles or issues are the same things that helped me write this song. I think it's on Touch the Sky. I'm pretty sure. So you might want to listen to that song. That's coming through for a reason. Because he's talking about his past struggles, but then he's like, on the flip side, those things are the things that gave me the insight, the creative, you know, openness or inspiration or the idea to express myself in this way, which has led me to success and empowerment. So can I really be mad? Can I really be ashamed? Can I really get down on myself for the things I've gone through when they've ultimately led me to where I am? You know, like, humans need to evolve. We start from the bottom, right? Started from the bottom, now we here. And it's okay because we're all starting from the bottom. And, you know, I feel like our lives are just the journey of remembering and building ourselves up into our higher selves and the expression of who we genuinely are. So yeah, that's what I'm getting for the origin of this avoidance. So let's look further into why this avoidance is happening. Spring equinox rebirth with the Lovers in reverse. Syrian A, artistic integrity and honesty. With the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, wow. The Princess or Page of Cups with achievement, Sun in Capricorn. It's like you don't logically understand how what is truly meant for you can logically be achieved or practically be achieved. You're like, okay, that would be great, but I do not understand how, like, what that would even look like, you know? The thing is, your whole reality has shifted. You have gone through this entire rebirth transformation process out of a state of fear. And it's just the remnants of fear that need to be released now. Like, ultimately, fear is the only thing that we should be afraid of. Because fear is just a lie. It's a perception, right? It's a frame or a lens through which we choose to see the world, or that we get sucked into seeing the world that way, or it gets projected at us or taught to us, whatever the case may be. It's just a perspective, right? Any situation that you're viewing with fear, you have the choice to look at it from another perspective, through a different lens, through the lens of love, through the lens of acceptance, through the lens of, you know, openness, through the heart rather than through this critical mind. But this rebirth, this whole transformation has already taken place. It's just like the remnants of this fear that you're holding on to are sort of convincing you that you haven't actually come as far as you've come, I feel like. I feel like there's also a part of you, and this could be that child, like, part of you or connected to your inner child, especially with the Page of Cups showing up here. There's like an artistic side of you that, if you're honest with yourself, some of you feel as though your passion is in something that you're not even pursuing fully, or that you're maybe pursuing, but you have this deep, insidious belief that the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, you can't actually make a sustainable living or be successful in the ways you want to be, or be stable, you know, doing what it is that you actually feel is aligned with your integrity. And for some of you, it is something spiritual or artistic, because you don't understand how you can reach the peaks of achievement here in terms of like the world's perspective, or like status, right, with Capricorn, but also be in that energy of being connected to your inner child and your creativity and your inspiration and your intuition, and coming from this disarmed place of the heart. You don't understand how you can like climb the ranks in the world while being that, you know, open and vulnerable, essentially. Because it's just a different way of being than you have existed in the past. And so again, this decision is going to take courage. And I think you know that. For you guys in group 2, you feel this pull very strongly. You have the emotional clarity, and you know what is not in alignment with the life that you're meant to be living right now. I feel like it's like you've gone through a paradigm shift, and you can't go back even if you wanted to. You can't unsee what has been revealed to you. But it's like you're still in certain patterns or habits or relationships with things that existed in the old paradigm. And so now you're in this weird in-between space where like what has been buried or abandoned or hidden is this deep strength within you, this it's like the unusual suspect coming up with the KO here. It's like what you wouldn't expect to be the most empowering part of you is actually the Page of Cups, and this artistic honesty, this integrity, this heart, this softness, this tenderness for yourself, for your past experiences is ultimately the key to your success here. But it's like you can't make sense of that logically in your mind based on your previous beliefs and experiences. So you're having trouble maybe taking this leap of faith. Is there anything else about why this avoidance is happening that you want to share here with group 2? Again, you might have some imposter syndrome where you feel like this isn't for you. Or that the Eight of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. You might feel like you need to struggle or strive for something that's actually kind of meant to come easy to you. All you need to do is really remove the barriers, which you know are barriers. You have an awareness of what is a barrier, and then really set your mind to this achievement. Clarify in your head what it is that you want. But believe that you can have it. But there's something here about taking care of yourself by not pushing too hard, like not running yourself into the ground. There's practical self-care that needs to happen here. And it's sort of saying this is like some work that needs to be especially put in. It's like nurturing yourself as being the parent that you never had, essentially. Nurturing yourself as you would a child that you really love, or an animal or a plant that you're taking care of, right? With the same tenderness, the same softness, the same acceptance and unconditional love that you would offer those things, those beings. It's the task of offering that to yourself, working on that for yourself just as hard as you would show up for somebody, like to offer it to somebody else, right? That's when you're going to reach this achievement, because then you'll be fully ready. You'll be aware that you are worthy of it, and you'll also be ready physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, I feel like, aligned to actually be in calibration and to accept and integrate that achievement, those blessings. Okay, some motivation for you here to embrace this. We have Ellen of the Ways, patterns, and the Eight of Swords. Yeah, see, there's a pattern of fear that you've been reborn out of, and you no longer have to exist under. You can be free of this. You are free of this. All you have to do is let it go, right? It's like being chained to something and not knowing the whole time that you have the keys. Existing in chains the whole time, you know you're holding the keys. And you don't always recognize that you're holding the keys. But now that you know, it's time to set yourself free, right? And your motivation is that you do have the power, the strength, the clarity, and the evolved, like you have evolved. You're ready for this. To break out of this pattern, you don't have to be consumed by or, guided by fear or misguided by fear anymore. You can move from a lighter place, from a creative, inspired place, from the heart. You can feel free. You can be happy, Things can be simpler and easier. Your advice is orphaned. Wow, there's something with this abandoning children, orphaned, and you have the Four of Swords in reverse. I feel like many of you there's been lots of overthinking about this. I'm going to read this. The orphaned card, I feel like it's quite significant. And I also have one more oracle card too that we're going to close off with for you. Your thoughts are very powerful, and I know that we hear this all the time and it can kind of get old, right? Like when you hear something all the time, I feel like we can be desensitized to the importance of that message just because it's constantly like spoken to us and it's nothing new. But at the same time, I feel like we don't always let it really like sink in, the depth of it. With the Four of Swords in reverse here, it's like you can choose to be in this state of fear and assuming the worst and being in a triggered trauma sort of state, or you can choose to focus more on the things that are going right, how far you have come, and the fact that you're not orphaned. You are here for yourself now, right? Okay, let's see what this card says. Okay, so it says a sense of loss and identity crisis, recognizing that you don't fit in, the need to belong, or uncertainty about your place. I feel like all of these things are things that you are grappling with right now. Okay. I'm going to read the oracle message here. So it says, we were all meant to have connections with other people within our family, society, and the larger culture. No man is an island, and it's important to recognize when being a part of rather than separate from is essential to your well-being. The issue at hand is the need to find where you fit. Be true to your core truths and values. Perhaps you no longer identify with a group or community the way you did before and need to find a new situation. You might be feeling a deep sense of loss or confusion. Address the need for belonging and know that you will find your place with others of like mind and spirit. It's okay to let go of pressure to fit in. Not everyone will understand you. It's time to move on. So here, this is about you offering this acceptance to yourself, saying, fuck the pressure to fit in. Not everyone's going to accept me. Not everyone's going to understand me. But I am the one person who needs to accept and understand myself and not stifle or abandon myself. If anyone is not going to do that to me, I'm going to make sure that it is me that does not do that to me anymore, right? And through that, because here there is an identity crisis, because it's like strength talks about your morals, your values, your beliefs, and essentially what makes up like your backbone and gives you that courage. It's like, I know where I stand. I know what I believe. And I make choices and stand behind them with confidence because I know that. I know my place in life. I know what I believe. For the most part, right? This is always changing and shifting because we're growing and evolving, but like we should have a pretty good idea of where we're at in any given moment. Overall, like what matters the most to us, what are the cornerstones of our life with which we build off of, right? And with that strength in reverse, it's like you know that you don't belong where you've been before, and this is clear to you. You have that clarity, but you also know that you need to have the courage to move on and that that's not easy. So this is just really like validation that is something that needs to happen. Okay, the last card is from this Work Your Light Oracle deck. So let's take a look at this. It says, Akasha, your guidance is divinely guided. I do want to read this from the book as well as a closing message. But I feel like this is really Spirit saying that not to fear, because you're not alone. You're with your higher self. You're with your guides. You are being guided into this new phase. And you're being guided by your higher self. You're being guided by higher vibrational beings and higher dimensional beings that have your best interest at heart. They do. So there's just kind of this need to trust as you leap into something that feels unknown and uncomfortable. Okay, where is this? Akasha. Card. See what this has to say to close off your message. Okay. It says, Akasha exists in the 5th dimension and the library of souls. All soul contracts, history, gifts, lessons, and more exist here. We each have access to this information of the past, present, and future and can tap into it at any time. While we have free will, there are also points on the timeline of our lives that are predestined or pre-planned. Soul contracts or agreements that were made before incarnating. It could be a company you chose to work for, a relationship you planned to have, or a person you agreed to mentor or help. Whatever it is, know that it is divinely guided and will not bypass you. If you are waiting for a sign to proceed, this card is it. You are likely living out an important part of your soul's journey, and you are exactly where you need to be. This is very exciting indeed. It is time to call in the support of your helpers, both in the physical realm and the spirit world, to trust the signs coming, to take note of your dreams, to notice any feelings or visions that you receive. For you are tapping into the wisdom of the Akasha and you are being given the go-ahead to proceed. See, this is you tapping into that higher self. So trust your intuition, trust that you are being guided, trust the signs that are coming to you. There's also a transmission here, and it says that you are meant to say this aloud if it resonates with you. I open myself up to receive the wisdom of the Akasha. I am ready to download any information from my soul records that is in my highest good and the highest good of all. Thank you. So you can ask for that guidance from your higher self to come in and to bring you information that's going to help guide you forwards and help bring you, a sense of peace and confidence so that you can take these steps that are required of you next. You know what I mean? For you guys, I think that this is something that you're quite clear on. It's like you know certain things that you are being asked to give up at this time. There's a clarity of emotion and intuition with you, I feel like. But it's just that letting go of old habits, mental habits, physical habits, releasing relationships to certain things that have just outgrown or reached their expiry point. And then, you know, facing any fear surrounding leaping out into the unknown and just making that decision, knowing that, again, you are being guided by something above you, and you're not going to be guided out into a space where you're just left hanging, or where you're going to get hurt, or where you're going to be unsafe and have to stifle or abandon parts of yourself again. You're being guided home. And when I say that, I mean home to yourself. Home to yourself. Your most authentic, aligned part of yourself with integrity and honor. The most honest and authentic part of yourself. So really everything is on the line here, because to live out of fear versus to live out of love and authenticity, it's a big difference. So there's a huge shift that you are being asked to take at this time. And it's not even, I'm not even going to downplay that it's easy. You know, this is for some of you, you've been dealing with feeling orphaned or abandoned or on the outs your whole life. You know, and so maybe that's why you didn't even notice that you were actually doing it to yourself as well, that you've actually been not accepting parts of yourself because you're so used to them not being accepted by others. The first step of coming home to yourself is opening the door and holding that space, right? The home within you for everything that that includes, for the full embodiment and expression of you. Not judging, not criticizing, not judging the person you have been, but really saying thank you for going through all of that. Thank you for doing the best that you could do with what you had at the time, and for bringing me here where I know better. And I can now take courageous steps forwards to do better, because I'm made for more. I'm made for, you know, I'm made for a lot of really beautiful things. And really vast achievements. I'm made to be in perfect comfort and alignment with my destiny, with flow here. Okay? Those are the messages I got for you, group number 2. I really hope that this reading was helpful to you in some way, validating or resonated with you. If it was, feel free to let me know in the comment section if you feel comfortable doing so, or just shout out and say hey to your girl. I always love hearing from you. You can also let me know by liking the video if you feel called to do that. Yeah, but I'm gonna leave your message here. I love you so very much. I will talk to you again soon. Bye, group 2. Hey, group 3. I hope you're all doing well, and as you can see, I have pre-pulled and laid out the Oracle and Tarot cards that we're going to use for the main spread. I'm going to use another deck to clarify as we go. Yeah, but I just did that to save us some time, because I knew I did want to use quite a few decks for this reading just to get more specific. But I have not seen any of the cards. They're all still turned upside down. So we're gonna move through this part by part together. So let's start by just taking a look at your current energy archetype, where you're at in regards to things overall, to give us some more context on what we're working with. And then we will look into what it is that you are avoiding, or one thing that you're avoiding here that is important, that Spirit wanted to talk about. And we'll see why that is, and get you hopefully some validation for what you already know, some motivation and some advice for moving forwards, okay? All right. Where you're currently at, you have the Mediator in the upright with the 8 of Swords in reverse. Excuse me. Quite interesting. A gift for negotiating fairness and strategy in personal and professional life, and respect for both sides of an argument is the energy of the Mediator. You are standing up for yourself. This is taking courage. Because the Eight of Swords in reverse talks about putting yourself out there, needing to be brave, even though there might be fear associated, fear, insecurity, or worry, or an unknown element that is associated with what you are leaping out into. It's like, I feel like you're standing up for yourself here. This could be verbally. This could be in conversation surrounding something that you deserve in a specific situation or relationship. This could be you're just fighting for yourself in your own life again after feeling like heartbreak took you to kind of a dark place, and maybe you feel like you've just been surviving rather than thriving in your life, existing rather than living. And so you're almost mediating a better way for yourself forwards is kind of what this feels like. I almost feel like you're mediating your way out of the shadows as well. There is this sense that you maybe for a while you haven't been really fully fighting for your success to the fullest extent that you could have it. And again, not every period of time in our lives is a life or is a time when we are really, you know, have rapid moving energy and we're pushing it outwards and expanding and taking risks and moving towards our goals. You know, there are phases in our lives when we are in more of a contractual state, or we're doing inner work or shadow work or hermiting, learning lessons, clarifying our inner worlds a little bit so that we can expand further in our outer world. So that could be something that's happening, because I'm noticing all the backs of the tarot cards here. Yours are all black and white. So it could be that you've just gone through a phase where things have felt a little lifeless or a little less, your existence has been a little less vivacious, less inspired and creative than you would ultimately want it to be. So let's take a look at what it is that you are avoiding here. Because to me, it kind of seems like you are, at least in some area of your life, you're standing up for yourself. You're mediating appropriately to get what you desire and deserve. And you are kind of grabbing the bull by its horns, so to speak. So, wow. Okay, I'm just going to turn all the cards over and we'll work through them, okay? Because this whole top line is what you're avoiding. So you have Baraka, which says power, strength, force, and expansion, with the Knight of Wands. So we were just talking about that period of force with energy, being more aggressive, more assertive, and expanding, pushing outwards. Surrender to setting limits, with the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah. That says it's healthy to set boundaries, practice expressing your needs, and remember that no is a complete sentence. And then healing chaos with the Three of Swords in reverse. Wow. Okay. My throat is bothering me as well. It wasn't bothering me for any of the other groups. So I'm almost feeling like there could be something here about expressing yourself authentically, about not being afraid to speak up, something with your throat chakra that is being, it almost feels like liberated at this time. Okay. So this is what you're avoiding though. It's almost like you're mediating from a like, let's play nice kind of standpoint. For some of you, you are sticking up for yourselves, but you're still not standing up for yourself with the amount of exerting force and standing in your power and strength that you are actually meant to in this situation. For some of you, you're like recovering people pleasers, people who are not used to standing up for your own highest and best good. Or people who maybe you're used to not getting fairness in the past. And so you've learned how to negotiate with almost a hidden agenda or an ulterior motive, you know, to get what you want, like a less direct sort of way of standing up for what you want. You've kind of like moved in the shadows, not just directly stating what it is that you desire or deserve and standing in your strength, but more so like, I don't know, it's almost like the energy of like a hyena, like letting, yeah, there's definitely something going on with your throat chakra, but it's like letting the lions have the first feast and then running in to grab the scraps and kind of working more behind the scenes, you know, is kind of what's coming through. But you're being asked now, or you're coming into this phase where you are standing up for yourself more despite your own withholdings or doubts or insecurities about doing so. You are finding this strength, this courage within yourself, and I feel like getting used to embodying more of your strength and power and actually knowing how to work with that. But it's almost like you're afraid to fully put this force of expansion into motion. And I think it's because you are going to need to set some limits and be a little more firm in your mediation. And there are also some things that you're not going to want to compromise on at all, you know? And that's just how it is. Like, there are some things when you're mediating, right, that you will compromise on, and there are other things that you shouldn't. Things that have to do with like your authenticity, your spirit, whether your needs are being met or not, whether you feel safe and secure, you know, whether you're overextending, whether too much is being expected of you, whether you're comfortable, all of these things. There are certain things that we don't compromise, or we're not meant to compromise on, right? And those are kind of the things that comprise the strength of our spirit, our beliefs, our values, our morals, the things that, you know, the rules or guidelines by which we independently function that mean something important to us. It's almost like maybe people who haven't shared the same ideas as you have been projecting onto you. And it's almost like you're mediating to live, like, for the freedom to just live your own life and make your own choices. And there's this part of you that really wants to just say fuck it and just kind of like release the full extent again of your force and just like slingshot yourself into this massive phase of expansion and just really give no fucks about anybody else's opinions, you know, just kind of chaotically move into this expansion because you know you're moving into that phase and you know that it's meant for you. But there's this other part that is still learning how to set healthy boundaries and limits, because you know that moving too like erratically or insensitively could actually hurt you, not help you here. So it's like you are trying to find a balance, but the balance isn't necessarily between you and other people. It's a balance within yourself first and foremost, I think. And you may also be avoiding healing something kind of chaotic and painful that did happen in your life here. And that might be impeding your ability to really set these healthy boundaries and stand up for yourself. But let's get some clarity here. The Lovers, okay. Yeah, so you're trying to find a balance. It's like you don't want to sever ties because you know that that ultimately won't make you happy either. Like it's like you want to set boundaries and have healthy limits between you and certain people or your relationship to certain things, but you don't want to cut them out overall. It's like you're growing, you're expanding, and so the dynamics of your relationships are also doing that as well, right? You can't change half of the dynamic and expect the whole dynamic to not shift. And so you're almost like needing to reset boundaries and limits with people based on what you have grown into, what you've evolved into. But you're trying to do this in a harmonious way. Yeah, see the Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck, while not sacrificing your own beliefs, values, moral code, power, strength, self-worth, all of those things, right? That's what it feels like for you, but you are kind of still uncomfortable with sort of claiming your power and standing in it, it feels like. And so you're somewhat still on the fence because I feel like you don't really know how other people are going to react when you kind of like come out, come out as your new, like you 2.0 or however many versions of you there have been, right? You're still on the fence because you're not sure what people's reactions will be and you don't really want to stir things up too much. Like you're not trying to cause conflict. You're just trying to evolve peacefully and maintain relationships that actually do mean a lot to you. You're not just trying to cut and run and be like, well, I've evolved past you, so screw you, You're trying to just kind of make things work here. Redefine the boundaries between you and other people. But yeah, it could be causing some chaos and conflict in your life anyways, or you suspect that it will because you think that people will be mad at you for not giving as much to them. Because it's almost like you're standing up for taking more time and energy to put towards yourself and your own personal expansion and dreams and goals. Again, you could be a recovering people pleaser or someone who just is used to overextending for other people and really always being there for everyone, but maybe not yourself to the degree that you always could be. Just remember that other people's reactions and responses to you and your personal growth is not personal, right? It's about them, how they choose to, I know that doesn't necessarily always make it easier in the moment, but it's not you causing chaos. It's they have the choice and the free will to respond to this in a mature and supportive and unconditionally loving way. So what you're really going to be seeing is people's true colors here, right? Because people who truly love and respect you are going to support you and be happy about your growth. They're going to listen to you when you explain why you're setting new boundaries, why you need more of your own time and attention. And if it's for your best good, then they're going to understand or seek to understand, and they're going to be on board with it. Anyone who is not is ultimately not someone that you really want around, right? For some of you, there's one thing that you're healing here, you're being asked to heal. I feel like you already are healed from it, but it's like you don't realize that you're healed from it. You kind of feel like you're still in the sun in reverse with this. This feels like something traumatic that you've been working on healing for quite some time. I feel like you've made really big leaps forward surrounding whatever this is, group 3. But it's like, it was so chaotic and so traumatic and so like such an upheaval for you that you're almost not wanting to like revisit it. You're just assuming that there's still more work to be done, that you're not in a space of clarity and joy and, ready for abundance and balance in your life. Like there must still be more work to do. There must still be more healing that needs to take place just based on how much this hurt you and how chaotic it felt, how much of a shakeup it felt like originally. You know what I mean? But it's like your avoidance of rechecking in with yourself surrounding that situation specifically is actually blocking you from realizing that no, you're not triggered in the same ways. You've actually completed a very huge cycle of healing, and I feel like you've liberated yourself. You're in this energy of liberating yourself from something that was fear-based and oppressive. So I think that ultimately it would be really helpful for you to actually check in with whatever this really big thing is that you've been working on healing from. And sometimes when we have like, PTSD or CPTSD from something that has been extremely traumatic, I think that we get scared that we're going to get sucked back into the deep end of it if we tap back into that energy, but then we're kind of living in that state of fear, right? Fear of going back to that place of grief and destruction and chaos. So afraid that we can keep ourselves, we can extend that period of fear, just being afraid of even checking in with how far we've come, right? So yeah, I feel like you've come far enough that you looking at this again, checking in with how far you've come surrounding it is not going to unravel the work that you've done or put you back in a dark or chaotic space. Okay, so I feel like, yeah, some of you needed to hear that. Okay, let's look into the origin of this avoidance here, the crux of it. All right, so we have the Six of Pentacles and reassuring, which is a heart chakra card. It says peaceful. The trigger statement, my life is a mess. True statement, I find stillness within. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. Go within to find peace there, and your life will reflect that. Again, there's something about energetic, peaceful, energetic balance, symbiotic relationships that are balanced, harmonized, and a reflection of your inner peace that you have cultivated through this healing, because you have, right? It's like this belief that things cannot be peaceful and easy because maybe you haven't experienced that. Needing to just really reassure yourself on a heart level that you have done the work, that you have evolved, you've expanded beyond this chaos. It doesn't need to control you anymore. See, again, it's like when you're triggered, you go back to that chaotic place, the assumption, my life is a mess, things are chaotic, I'm back in that triggered space, right? But I don't feel like you actually are. I feel like you've reached a space of energetic balance with this Six of Pentacles here within yourself. And you're just needing to trust that, to reassure yourself of that, and to find this peacefulness in your heart so that you can then communicate that to other people and guide them and their relationships with you. And also so you can healthily discern which ones are out of balance and which ones are not, and then who is responding to your setting boundaries and limits in a healthy way and who is not, right? But yeah, the root of this is that it's like almost this assumption that your life is a mess, that you're not healed, that you're still in a state of upheaval and chaos, when really I feel like you've mediated within yourself, and a lot of your external world is or will soon be a direct reflection of that work. You're going to have more balance and peace in your life, but you kind of have to recheck in with your internal world, even the parts that have been dark and scary, just to realize that you have overcome them and you're not in the same place that you were before. Okay, let's look into more of why this avoidance is taking place. This is the root of it, but let's look at more factors surrounding this in the present, okay? So we have wind activation with the Seven of Wands in reverse. Some of you can feel something good coming in. It's like an activation of a period of abundance, expansion, success, but you're almost scared of like what will come with it. Like, it's like, you know that you might be getting more attention, but you also know that with that is going to come like haters or people who are judgmental, or, you know, it's almost like you're fighting this expansion or activation because of things that you feel you might have to be defensive against with, like, that are coming with it. You have shadow self, denial, projecting, and shame. Ooh, with the Nine of Swords in reverse. You're also afraid that if you... Some of you are very hyper aware of and focused on your shadow. It's like you're very scared of not being aware of your shadow, and accidentally, because I feel like people have done this to you. They have shamed you. They've projected their shadow, their insecurities, their wounds, their trauma onto you. And you have a fear of doing that to other people. So you're scared almost that if you're not constantly anxious about not doing that, that your shadow will like creep in and that you'll do what has been done to you. That's almost what this feels like. It's like a hyper awareness of what has been done to you and your capacity to potentially do it to someone. And you're very much like Like, it's almost like if you've been abused, like gone through narcissistic abuse, you're worried that you could be a narcissist or come off as a narcissist. You know what I mean? It's something like that. Or if someone's been really controlling and codependent in their relationship with you, it's like now moving forwards, you're worried that it's like you're aware of the part you played and your shadow that played into that. And so you're trying to be hyper aware so that you don't make the same mistakes, but you're also kind of holding on to those things by bringing so much constant awareness and thought, almost to the level of like obsession and anxiety to them, right? That's what's ultimately going to... I mean, it's good to give your shadow, like to do shadow work to help integrate it. And we integrate just by drawing, like bringing awareness and acknowledgement and then holding space for the shadow, not denying it, not shaming it, not projecting it, just being with it, right? And then doing the best that we can to work with it instead of it running us. But constantly focusing on it and stressing over it is not the same as doing that healthy shadow work. And it can actually get to a point of being pretty detrimental because we can inadvertently draw more of our shadow out of us, out of just being hyper alert to it or afraid of the control that it could have over us, right? So there's something here about that. The Wheel of Fortune in reverse with Saturn in Pisces, loss as well. There's also something here that you're like, well, if I never fully go for something, then if I don't, like, I'll never have to experience not getting it not being for me. Because there's this part of you that is still struggling with the idea that something is for you, that you do, I feel like deep down feel is fated for you. It's something beyond the chaos, the turmoil, the pain, the trauma that you've experienced. Like, it's like you may have gone through so much in your life. Group number 3, and you're coming to the point now where you're like, all of this was not for nothing. Like, there's no way that I've done this much work, you know, that I've healed this much, that I've come this far, faced my fears, and grown through all of this. It can't have been for nothing, right? And it wasn't. There's something beautiful and huge meant for you, and your spirit is aligning with it through stepping further into your strength and power, right? Through asserting yourself in a way that you never have before, and therefore letting, you know, other people in your life and even letting the universe know that you're not settling for what you once did, right? There is a lot meant for you, but it's part of the avoidance of, it's like you're avoiding admitting that something beautiful and expansive and abundant is coming in case, like on the off chance that you could lose it, fuck it up, or that you're wrong, that it's actually for you in the first place, but you're not. Anything else about that? Further on why this avoidance is happening, Spirit? For group 3? Is there anything else you want to say about that? The 10 of Cups in reverse. The 6 of Wands in reverse. You're scared to move forwards with like full steam ahead because you're afraid that you have misguided yourself. That you're going to make these cuts, set these boundaries, come out as being this evolved, expansive version of yourself, and then be wrong about what is meant for you and look like an idiot and have sacrificed, you know, relationships and your current status quo for just to be let down, essentially. This is fear. This is just fear speaking. That's what that is. It's fear, and it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Ultimately, okay? Okay, let's look at some motivation and advice for you moving forwards. So we have Sophia, Divine Wisdom, and we have the Wheel of Fortune in the upright. Look at that. I told you. See, Spirit's like, this divine wisdom of what is meant for you that you feel inside, it's not wrong. It's right. You might not be able to prove it, but you can feel it. And it's not just a feeling. It is this divine spark of wisdom within you. It's your path. It's your purpose. You feel called to something greater because you're meant for something greater, period. And you're not wrong about that. So this is just huge validation, clear validation, Spirit saying you should be motivated to move forwards because you're right. You're not doing this. You're not fighting for yourself. You're not standing up for yourself and doing these uncomfortable things just to be let down. No, you're making energetic shifts, and this is going to be reflected in the world around you. And you're moving towards something that is truly meant for you. Your advice is fork in the road and the 8 of Cups in reverse. You are at this fork in the road here where you do have choices that you need to make about walking away from certain things that are not emotionally fulfilling. If you want to be in a frequency and a life of fulfillment, then you have to start by cutting out things that do not comply to those standards, right? That do not give you that. Start by doing the easy part, which is just removing anything that does not fit with what it is that you want to feel and experience. Okay? Now I say easy, but of course for those of us that are used to putting everyone's needs above our own and taking everyone into consideration but ourselves, right? That can actually be quite difficult. Because we feel like we're letting people down, we feel guilty, we feel ashamed, and sometimes people, depending on how healthy or unhealthy they are, perpetuate those ideas, right? Or try to manipulate us using those ideas. But no, your advice is to pause at this fork in the road and really take into consideration how far you've come, what you're moving out of, what you're moving into, because it's big. And then pause and really be honest with yourself about what does not feel like a frequency or a vibrational match with this divine expansion and power and force of positivity and love and reassurance and peacefulness that you are moving into. What does not facilitate those feelings and that energy? Right? Be really honest with yourself, because there are some things here that you're scared to set limits with. You're scared because you feel like you're going to end up losing something. But I promise you, you will not, if you're walking away from something that's not emotionally fulfilling, you're not losing anything. There's better for you, and you're just making space for the better things to find their way to you. Okay? Okay, I have one final card for you. It's from the Journey of Love Oracle deck. So I'm going to read this one from the book for you. Let's see what you've got. You've got number 42, The Blood Dance. Interesting. Let's see what that says to close off your reading. The Blood Dance. Okay. Number 42. Okay, it says the heart craves life and the blood responds. In relationship to each other, life happens. The desire and the action, the movement of cycles, drawing in and letting go, rushing to the center and pushing far away to the extremities. It is the cycle of relationship, dancing between self and other, into oneness and into individuality. So it is with human beings in relationship with each other, and with human beings and the divine essence. Sometimes the heart of God feels so close, it's as though our own inner passion is the very blood rushing through it. Then we journey far, bringing our nourishment to where it is needed, to those who are cold and lonely, to the farthest reaches of our own dark self, that we may, if very brave, dare to love completely. Though we can be lonely for the warmth of the center then, craving that feeling of being at home, soon enough we are called back to the core of the divine heart, and the cycle continues. Remember that you are always in this dance of life. You are never apart from the divine. It's just that sometimes in our natural flow, it's easier to feel that divine presence than other times. yet you are always the blood connected to the heart. This oracle brings you confirmation that you are connected to the divine source, to all that is. If you are experiencing a phase of feeling cut off from yourself, from your body, from another, or from the divine, even from your own feelings, spiritual connection, or intuition, be reassured that this is temporary and part of the cycle of life itself. Soon all connection shall return with even greater warmth and nourishment, welcoming you home again with great love. If you feel you've been journeying in life and fear that you have lost your way, do not trouble yourself, precious soul. You are never far from the divine heart and will always be called home. See, this is just beautiful. To me, this is just, it's like more of this reassurance with the divine wisdom and the wheel of fortune. Even if you feel lonely, even if you feel like it's a risk setting these boundaries and that you might possibly lose some people or have to cut some things out, soon, you know, it's temporary. It's part of the cycle itself. There are seasons for everything, right? And all connections shall return, even if it's in the form of new connections with greater warmth and nourishment. It will be more balanced, right? It will feel more like home. It will hold space for you. Because, and some of these people might also surprise you, right? The people that you're setting limits with now. Some of them might surprise you and respect those boundaries and be standing behind you. Some of this avoidance might just be from fear. But even the ones that, you know, it's not from fear, and these are people who are going to struggle with this growth and, you know, might not be in your life anymore from this point forwards. That's okay. They're going to be replaced with people that can support and honor you and hold space for all that you are and all that you are becoming. And that's beautiful. You know, because it's very hard to hold that space for yourself when you're surrounded by other people who can't and then are sort of constantly bringing you down, whether they're doing that consciously or not, right? So it's very important. Doesn't mean that they're bad people, but you are expanding. And if people can't hold space for that expansion, then they are ultimately keeping you small in some way, whether they mean to or not. And so you need to be real honest with yourself here at this fork in the road as you move forwards. You will know what you should not compromise on, right? Anything that is not fulfilling you emotionally or in a healthy, symbiotic, and respectful and loving relationship to you kind of does need to have these limits reinforced or enforced and possibly move out of your life because, you know, you're moving forwards. So, yeah, those are the messages that I got for you, group number 3. I hope that this reading resonated. I hope it was helpful and supportive, validating in some sort of way for you. You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. And yeah, if you want to let me know how this reading resonates, feel free to do so in the comments section or by liking the video. It is very helpful for me, and I just love connecting with you guys anyways. But thank you so much for being here. I'm sending you lots and lots of love through the ethers. I hope you're doing well. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye, group number 3. Hi, group 4. What's good, babes? There's a vibe, a very distinct vibe to this group. Am I talking to my high priestesses? Am I talking to my magicians? Who am I talking to here? There is like this air of mystery and like sexiness, life. There's a lot of color here to the spread as well. Feels like there's like a lot of expression. Also, the frequency, I was listening to the throat chakra, and right as I started your reading, it changed to the third eye chakra meditation music. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of inner expression happening at this time for you. Like you're very tapped in. You might be leveling up into like kind of realizing, oh bitch, I am an oracle, you know, like I am a divine being. Obviously all of us are, but I mean, you're like remembering more of who you are, and you're able to embody and stand in and radiate that, which is beautiful, because then you're fulfilling, you know, your passion and your purpose, and that spreads like wildfire. It inspires or triggers other people to do the same. Okay, a lot coming through intuitively without even looking at a card. So let's get started. I did pre-pull and lay down your spread because we're gonna mix Oracle and Tarot cards, and yeah, I just wanted to save some time, but I haven't seen any of your cards yet. And I'm gonna clarify with another tarot deck as we go and close with a final Oracle card or two to wrap up the message as well. So let's start by looking at where your current energy is at. Just to give us some, oh, Luna just went in her litter box. She's usually pretty extra in there, so if you hear her in the background, I apologize. Yeah, okay. So your current energy, just to give us some context, and yeah, let's catch a vibe here and see where you're at. Okay. Oh my God. It's the Femme Fatale card. With the Eight of Wands, with a swiftness. Oh my gosh. I'm hearing Sexy Back by Justin Timberlake in my head right now too. I'm bringing sexy back with a swiftness. These motherfuckers don't know how to act. I feel like that is a vibe. See, that's what I was picking up before I told you. There's something sexy about it. It came out in the reverse though, so you might be a little in the shadowy attributes of this archetype at this time. Inappropriate use of sensuality, attachment to money, and power. It's giving the show power, if you've watched it. It's kind of giving ghost energy. There is a lot shifting, though. You could be just kind of coming into... it feels very, like, empowered, feminine energy, almost like Lilith energy. Like, I walk on the wild side. I am comfortable in my erotic energy. I open my heart even more when I feel scared or feel intimidated or feel abandoned, you know? Like, I take those moments to further empower myself and be bold. That's the healthy side of this energy. So you might just kind of be like figuring this out. This almost feels like an awakening of this energy, but you're almost coming up through the shadow element of it into the more evolved element of it. You know what I mean? It's like you're just figuring it out. You're like taking it for a test drive. It feels like a luxurious energy though that you are in, or that you feel is coming on. So you're already kind of like in the vibe. It's like when you're going out with your friends, you're going out dancing or to a club or something, and you want to have one of those nights, right? And you have it in your mind where you're like, I want this to be a memorable motherfucker. And I'm going to dance and meet cute people and have drinks and, you know, go home a little blurry, and it's going to be fun, you know? And you're listening, you're like waiting for your friend to pick you up, or you're waiting to leave, and you're listening to like a playlist of music that puts you in that zone, and you're like putting the final touches on your outfit, your hair, your makeup, whatever it is, right? It's that kind of energy. You're like expecting this, and you're putting yourself into that vibe. Dude, I knew I felt that vibe with you right from the start. Damn. Yeah, see, your energy is strong right now. It came through super strong. And the deck just exploded. You've shifted something in your mind, in your headspace, in your perception of yourself. And you're bringing sexy back. This is like giving when Stella got her groove back. You've gone through some darkness and now you're like, bitch, oh my God. The past gave you so much clarity. And the thing is, it gave you clarity surrounding what you'll settle for and what you won't, where you'll compromise and where you draw those lines. And now you're like, bitch, I've got this knowledge under my belt. Like, I walked through the dark. And I now fear no evil. So let's do the damn thing. You know? And what does do the damn thing look like? Well, it looks like the Empress, the Star, and the Ten of Cups. Yes. Hell yes. You're like, okay, I learned the lesson. I'm ready to expand. I've healed. I'm ready to feel fulfilled. I am ready for what's mine. You know, and it's like you have this deeper understanding. Like I said, you learned the lessons. You've integrated them. It feels like from the shadow of what you've gone through here, or most of it. And so now you have this understanding, this higher understanding. It's like you realize that maybe karmically, or you needing to just heal or face some shadow attributes, or just learn some lessons, that you realize that the past, whatever it was, as dark as it was, kind of did need to happen to bring you to where you are now. But on the flip side, you're like, but I'm not there anymore. And I'm very ready to be elsewhere. And I am getting ready and listening to the playlist to put me in the vibe, and having like a pre-drink shot or something, you know, like before I leave, before I walk out the door, because this is happening. I am putting this into motion. And you're taking that very assertive approach, which I feel like is why the femme fatale came out. There might be some sort of imbalance currently in your connection to money and power. Some of you are life path 8. Or you have Capricorn, Mars in Capricorn, or strong scorpionic placements, or Pluto placements, or something like that. Power. Okay, let's look into what you're avoiding. Let's look into what you're avoiding. Okay. Mantra, medicine, command, song, incantation, and containment with the 3 of Wands in reverse. Are you not really saying what it is that you want? It's like you're afraid to admit fully what it is that you want and then command it into existence. Are some of you just fucking around with smaller, lesser things than what you truly know you want and desire, you know? It's like for some of you, you've got all this energy, this life force energy, this sexual energy, this manifesting energy. And it's bottling up in you, but it's almost like you're containing it. And this is a spell. It's a song. It's a command from your heart, from your soul, your core. But it's like look at this card, has the dominoes knocked over. You're like afraid to knock the first domino over because you know full well where it's headed. So it's like you're avoiding actually setting this beautiful thing that is for you into motion. It's like you know your energy is strong. You're like, yeah, you're not telling me anything I didn't already know, Lisa. Okay. I'm not trying to underestimate you. Settle down. But it's, why are you avoiding it then? It's like you know your own power. Maybe this is the unhealthy attachment to power. Is like that you're scared of your own. You're scared to use your voice because you know how strong it is to really command something into being. Maybe the last time you manifested something, it was from a less evolved place. Maybe you manifested something that actually brought you a lot of pain and grief. It's like you don't trust yourself and your own strength for some reason. Surrender your attachment to results. The High Priestess in reverse. I called you guys my priestesses, didn't I? Inner voice. So you're not putting it into full play. You're not speaking it into being, but you're also not letting go of your obsession with it. It's like you're avoiding actually moving forwards. Why are you keeping yourself in limbo? Are you that afraid of success? It's like you're grasping onto a desire or an outcome to the degree that you're sabotaging it, but you're also sabotaging from multiple angles. Listen, y'all, sabotage. You're not listening to your inner voice, which I feel like is saying you've already got this. Like, this is yours. Like, the high priestess knows. She can see. She is the seer, right? She's got a wide open third eye. She knows what is for her before it comes to her. Because she's the one that spoke it into being, you know? She spoke through the veil into the ethers, and she may not understand how it all works, all the ins and outs, but she knows how to assert herself energetically, right? How to manifest, how to see what is meant for her and trust it. But there's something that you're not trusting that intuitive part of yourself. It's almost like you want something so bad that you keep second guessing yourself. But I feel like you also want something so bad that you won't fully even admit how bad you want it. It's like you won't dare to even speak it or say it. But that's what you need to do. Not just speak it meekly either. You need to command it with this power and strength within you that you're moving into, but you're still kind of afraid of, you know? It's almost like you've driven like a Honda Civic your whole life, and then you get the fastest car on earth, like the most expensive, fastest car on earth. You know what I mean? It's gonna take you a hot second to figure out exactly how to drive that baby, you know? How to take the turns. And I feel like it's just like, go slow and be gentle with yourself here. But don't fully like contain. To contain your true desire would be like to get that fast car and just keep it in the garage and never speak it into, like, you know, never actually use it because you're so afraid of its power. Do you know what I'm saying here? What else here? Opportunity and the 5 of Pentacles in reverse. There's an opportunity for you to come in from the cold in some way here. Could be an opportunity for financial gain. Some of you are avoiding stepping outside the box to see what opportunities lie. It's like you're being asked to try new things almost, to shake up what you're doing currently that feels sort of stagnant. But you're procrastinating on doing that, or you're avoiding this change that you need to make to shift energy. Okay, let's clarify. Let's clarify that a little bit. The last part. It's almost, again, it's about your attachment to things going, like things playing out. It's like you're scared, so you're micromanaging. You're trying to over control something. But it's stifling your opportunities that are meant for you because you're not really following your own. You're not embracing your power. You're not following and trusting your own inner voice or intuition. And you're also not allowing for flexibility and adaptability, which would lead you to new abundant opportunities, I feel like. You're avoiding all these different pathways to success and abundance. And I think ultimately it comes down to having, it's like there's a misunderstanding of what power and success and maybe your relationship even to money or abundance is. There's something there I feel like that needs to be explored. But I think that that will come up in the rest of the cards. So let's keep moving. So what's the origin of this avoidance here? Where does it originate? Empowered, see? And trust. I was literally just saying, you're not trusting yourself and you're figuring out your relationship to power, right? Wow. So it says focus, empowered. The trigger statement, I don't want to be here. The true statement, I am exactly where I need to be. You are ready to allow the energy from the divine and Mother Earth to fuel you as you fulfill your potential here. Bro, with the Knight of Cups, trust. This is so beautiful. Oh God, this is like chef's kiss. This is so... Look at this too. It's right, like the mantra medicine card, the song, the incantation, and then look at on this card. He's crying almost, or it's coming from him, but it's music notes in the tears, in the streams. Can you guys see that? It's about like the song that you are, your energetic melody. Does that make sense? It's like your energetic melody or frequency, but it's more of like a song. It's more of like a spell. So you're singing it out to the universe. And with this incantation, you are creating, you have this ability. And it's through being very connected to certain emotions that you want to amplify in your life, I feel like. Like the Knight of Cups moves, trusting their heart and their intuition. They have it. They trust it to the extent that it's on their sleeve, right? And it's because they know that ultimately their feelings can define them because they haven't really learned how to not let them quite yet. But they have learned how to choose how they feel, you know? So those feelings, they might still be super overwhelming or intense sometimes, but they know that they have the choice ultimately. And that if they stay on top of themselves, they can trust themselves. They can be empowered, but they have to move from the heart. They still have to focus, right? Because they're not fully evolved yet. But they ultimately know they are where they need to be. They're on the right path. They're ready to allow more energy to come in, and then they grow. That's how you grow emotionally, is through trusting yourself, right? You have to take these leaps of faith. But yeah, you're growing into literally fulfilling your potential here. But it is going to require your focus and you to trust yourself as well. Okay, let's look further into why this avoidance is taking place. I'm gonna cross my legs. Hold on. Here. To be more comfortable. Luna is sleeping on the couch next to me. She's present, vibing as well. Okay. Stone people, vigilance with the Lovers. Ooh. Wow. Some of you definitely have one of those really stubborn placements there. Fixed placement, maybe. I want to say Scorpio. I'm just feeling that so strongly. But, wow, the Lovers again. Lovers in reverse with Nephilim. Controversial, assessing, and new perspectives. Oh, I get this. I so feel this energy. The Muse of Voices, or the King of Swords with Saturn and Aries risk. Yeah. the degree that I resonate with this, but you still got to stop avoiding. You have a very powerful path, though. You have a very strong purpose. In this life. So when you tap into it and when things start to speed up or gain momentum, it's like you're afraid to set things into motion because you're afraid to be overwhelmed. You're afraid to be out of control. You're almost afraid of your own power and to take up space because you know that you are meant to be a big fish here, you know, in this lifetime. Yeah, it's like you do have a lot of sight, you do have a lot of power, a lot of strength, a lot of sway in the spiritual or alchemical realms, a lot of knowledge, a lot of connection to what's bigger than you, to cosmic forces as well, because you're very tapped into your intuition and your heart. And the heart is the portal to all the higher realms. You're super intelligent here too. You have an understanding that's almost Aquarian. It's almost like, yeah, see? Mercury in Aquarius, Six of Swords, as I was saying. It's almost Aquarian in that it's almost ahead of its time. So there's a worry here that people might just not understand what you're trying to say, or that you might be judged harshly for it. It's like you feel like there's a risk in fully expressing yourself or embodying your power, because it feels like you're a leader of some sort, or you know that you have a very strong aura or energy, like you have a strong influence. That's what it's coming through as. So why you're avoiding all these like really beautiful things and ultimately being in your strength, your power, your abundance. You know, this, first of all, here, is telling me that the reason why you haven't spoke something clearly into being is because you wanted to be certain that you were speaking it from a place of empowerment and from the heart. It's like you wanted to, it's almost like you wanted to ego check yourself here and humble yourself. Because again, you know your power, and you know that like you don't want to call something into being that is not actually aligned with you, for your sake and for everyone else's sake. So it's like you were making sure that you could trust yourself. You were testing the waters of your empowerment, it feels like, making sure that you're in alignment with your heart. And you're being very vigilant and fixed and stubborn about not cutting corners with that process. Because again, I think you do just have a really strong sense of your own power, even if you do try to avoid it. It's like kind of undeniable, especially to yourself, to others as well. But this is not a good reason to avoid speaking your desire into being forever, right? It's okay to be vigilant, and I totally understand. I actually think it's pretty honorable to make sure that whatever you speak into being, you're coming from the right place, but also what is the right place, right? We're constantly evolving, we're constantly learning and getting better as we grow. And so you have to sort of allow yourself some wiggle room, allow yourself to be human, know that you're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. Your heart is in the right place, okay? So if you stick to this energy of such strong vigilance, it's like you're going to be a stone person. The time will never come, the right time will never come to take action when you're sure, when you're certain that everything is perfect, right? Because there's no such thing as perfect. So it might be time here to really stop containing what it is that you want and speak or command this into reality. Then here you have with the Lovers in reverse, choice, controversial, assessing, and new perspectives. It's like you have not quite made up yet your mind. Because again, it's like you know that what you're saying is controversial because it's a fresh perspective. It's a new take. It's ahead of its time, right? It's like you're still assessing But you're coming too much from your logical mind here, and that's why you're back and forth on making this choice, because you're not fully connected to your heart and your intuition here. I feel like it's by choice because of your avoidance. Avoidment is not a word. Because of your avoidance. It's like you flip-flop back and forth between fear. There's little sparks of fear. And I think it's because you recognize the fullness of what you are stepping into, but it is time. It is time. It's not time to put it off. It's time to step forwards. You are ready. And there's only so much assessing and planning and, you know, controlling that you can do. But you do see this as a risk to some degree. You're all fired up about it. You know that what you have is meant to be shared. It's just you want to make sure that you do it in the right way. And you're aware that it almost needs to be handled with a certain degree of care because it is kind of shocking or controversial or just very new, very advanced. So you're trying to figure out like this strategy, you know? But you might be so focused on the strategy that you miss the opportunity that's going to lead you exactly to where you need to be to advance right now in an empowered way. So all you really need to be focused on, I feel like, is getting in alignment with love, getting in an alignment and a vibration of light, being empowered from the heart, taking care of yourself, and just getting clear on what it is that you do desire most and where that desire is coming from. Tune back into your intuition, get more out of this assessing, logical, sort of intellectualizing space, because it's just causing confusion. You can trust your instincts, your intuition, and your heart the most right now, okay? Motivation for you moving forwards and advice. The motivation is, didn't I say this had empowered feminine? It has Lilith energy. Lilith is here with independence and Shakti, transformation. And the Nine of Cups, happiness in reverse. Yeah. It's time for your main character era. Bitch. It's time. Stella got her groove back, honey. It's Britney, bitch. You know, it's this era of lack, of unfulfillment, of unhappiness. You were learning lessons. You're not going to make the same mistakes again. You have transformed and you're ready to be speaking your desires, your deepest desires, your independent desires, to make them a priority, to speak them into existence, to embody them, to stand on it, you know, to be in this empowered state. No more playing small. No more avoiding. No more selling yourself short. No more deluding yourself down. You know. Your advice is the Ace of Wands in reverse and Unfinished Symphony. Let's read Unfinished Symphony. Let's see. Talks about an unfinished business, an incomplete lesson, lack of closure, or the need to make amends. There's a cycle that you're holding open, and it's not allowing for this new spark of inspiration. So you're meant to tie up loose ends because you're nearing the completion of a cycle here, the mastery of a lesson. You just need to come to terms with where you are now, practice radical acceptance, you know what I mean? be with yourself intimately so that emotional and psychological closure can occur where they need to happen, right? You can move forwards then, not leaving things unfinished, not without closure. So it feels like it's a time of reflection on things that have gone by. It's like creating your own closure for certain things as well. That's something that really does show a lot of inner strength. Is there any other advice? From the tarot? Do you want me to share? I have another oracle card for you that we're going to close with. I just want to see if they have anything else to say from the tarot. Okay. So I have, there's two of them, right? Two came out for you. So these are from the Wild Unknown Alchemy deck. I'm going to read to you and see what they're about, and we're going to close on this note. Okay, so you have synchronicity and the peacock's tail. Synchronicity and the peacock's tail. Okay. Let me see here. Synchronicity. Okay. Wow. Okay, it says source, destiny, the miraculous message. The Unus Mundus is the presiding destiny or deity, of alchemy. It arrives to remind us that we are not alone in our queries or our journey. What are we here to do? What pulls us forward? Unanswerable questions are timeless fuel for the flames of transformation. Mystics before us have uttered the same questions while tinkering in their laboratory. Do not underestimate the brave act of your attention to the details of your daily life, to the ecology of our world. What you notice matters. You matter. When this card arrives, sacred messages abound. Everything is a living symbol, a synchronicity. Its guidance is sent directly from the alchemists who have come before you to encourage you along the way. See the deeper meaning of what is in front of you. In this very moment, the new eye opens. Whoa, I feel like I want to cry. That feels so incredibly powerful. It says something you cannot see is taking shape. It will soon emerge to support you. Trust and breathe. The miracle awaits. Wow. Synchronicities are how the world of mysteries claim our attention. Something's going to stick out to you. Okay, so take note of a memory, a word, an image, lyrics, someone that you run into. Take note. There's a message that's coming through that might guide you towards this opportunity here. And remember, I said you're not supposed to miss it by being too in your head or being too stuck, too structured, too trying to control. This synchronicity wants to come in here, right? So don't miss it. Follow this inner voice because it's being reflected. It's like you tune into this open eye, right? To your intuition, to your heart, and it will guide you through synchronicities external to you as well that will speak to you, and they'll take you where you need to go. That is so, wow, yeah. That just feels incredibly powerful. Let's see what's going on with the peacock's tail here. Let me see what page this is on. Okay, it's on 199. Okay, it says full vision, the spectrum, and inclusivity. The peacock's tail is a sacred image in alchemy. The mesmerizing display of tail feathers opens to mark the alchemist having shifted from single to multi-perspective. This is a great achievement. The alchemist has opened 1,000 sets of eyes instead of one. They've discarded black and white thinking and allowed the full spectrum of colors, nuances, and solutions to come into the fold. Creative solutions to complex social and political polarities can be found in this sacred space. That is so interesting because you know how I said, like, you've got this controversial, this fresh perspective. It's almost like you have a creative solution to some sort of complex collective thing. And it came to you through intuition, through something sacred. You might have channeled this, or maybe you're meant to. You're like a prophet, a high priestess, like I said at the very fucking beginning, dude. The force field of possibilities has opened, and the alchemist has entered a new paradigm belonging to multiplicity, dimensionality, and inclusion. Utilize this perspective for positive change while it lasts. While falling back into black and white thinking, as any alchemist will do, envision the splendor of the peacock's tail. Each feather contains a shimmering universe of possibility. Wow. Bring as much color in as you can. Experiment with it. Use it for therapy, for expression. Bring it in as a reminder to not be so rigid, not be so black and white, not be so attached to something going a specific way either. You're moving from black and white into the full spectrum of color. And it's like it's already available to you, and you know this. You just need to trust and take an empowered leap towards it. And I feel like each step along the way there is just gonna appear ahead of you. You'll be able to trust it. You don't have to strategize and assess vigilantly. You know, you don't have to be fearful. Like, this is your soul, this is your heart, this is your path, this is your destiny. You're on it. You don't really need anything else along the way. You just need to wrap up these loose ends and take the leap. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm so proud of you. It takes, you know what it takes to get into this kind of alignment? Well, yeah, you know what it takes because you've been through it. You know? You have to essentially walk through the valley of the shadow of death. You have to face your deepest fears. You have to face demons. You have to slay the dragons. You have to do that. Beautiful people don't just happen. Bravery doesn't just happen. These are things that we evolve into step by step over a long period of time, over lifetimes. So be proud of where you're at and know that you are ready, okay? You're ready for what is yours. And it's on the motherfucking horizon, baby. I love you so much. I hope this resonated and was helpful for you in some way. If it was, let me know in the comment section. I love talking to you, or like the video. You're my favorites. I hope you're well. I'll talk to you again soon. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye.